I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast, set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a day
nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
All right, Joey, we're on.
Right on.
Hey, that was probably one of the funnest roping sessions I've had this morning in a long time. Man, your place is so rank.
Well, I appreciate it.
I tell you what was really cool is the fact it's hot. It's July. We're in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And where you have your arena down in this little hole has the north wind, it looks like, blocked. But what I loved was the east side where the sun comes up was so much higher than your arena and trees above it to where we stayed in the shade for 2 or 3 hours when the sun came up.
Man, pretty good while. And then the trees at the back, there's 2 of them big trees, which it's all trees, but 2 of them, you know, hang over the arena there pretty good, and it shades the steer pins. And then, honestly, you take your head rope off and sit there in the shade for just a second. So shade at the back, shade at the front, man.
Yeah, because you have what other people don't know is you have a cover over your boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go up underneath there, and then today we had a nice breeze to it,
mm-hmm.
and so when you get up underneath that cover under your head box, sitting in there shooting the stuff right there and talking about it, man, it was real pleasurable.
Man, we honestly just did that by accident. We were going to just cover the boxes like everybody does, you know, and so Tommy Mather built pretty much everything on my place. He's one of my good buds. We've known each other for a long time. And anyway, he said, man, we had already put the saddle shack in the arena, you know, and he said, man, we need to go on over at least another bay. Well, another bay was going to be kind of right in the middle of the saddle shack. He said, well, if we go over one more, we can get everything under here, you know, but then there'd be a little arena sticking out over there. He said, how about we just go all the way across and we'll put some pins under here? And it was all his idea, man. I ain't taking credit for none of it, but it is sweet. I do like it.
Yeah, because your stuff is right there. I mean, you literally saddle right to the left of your head box. And then your arena's there. And yeah, it was great. Because like I said, the middle of the arena, first part of the arena on the right-hand side to the middle of the arena was shaded for, 3 hours, it felt like.
Pretty good
from
while.
7 a.m. till, 10 a.m. it felt like. And then you go take your head rope off and it's shade. And
Yes,
then we
sir.
come right back and sit in the box. It was the most pleasurable I've been around in July down here in a long time. That was a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate it.
Man, it was fun. I got to ride Air Force One today. I don't think you know how much I've been wanting to swing a leg over that son of a gun.
Well,
Gosh, dang it! I've been bragging about that sucker on this podcast for a long time. I mean, because he's just been doing it. And it seems like every fraternity I look up and you're winning first. Like you ain't just playing, you're winning first on him. And he's only 5, and he is an athlete. Gosh dang! And we talk about a lot too is where you don't know what a good one is till you get on one, and that was cool.
man, I'm just pumped that you liked him because it could have went the other way.
Well, you could tell he looked up at me when I swung a leg over. He was like, "What? And what? Hey, Joey, who's this gunsel?"
I'm gonna be. No, I don't think that.
He grabbed his butt a couple times right there,
He's
throwing
a
some.
little feely. But the seriously, I don't even think TB's ever run one on it. I know Miles run a couple one day, and Shane rode him at the Riyadh Buckle, and other than that, nobody's ever swung a rope on him but me. So it's plumb different for him, just like it was for you when you crawled
cool.
on. It's just different.
Yeah, when you're trying to find that feel, like that was so cool of you to let me on him too. Or I'm trying to find, the few of those buttons right there in the corner where they're up, their shoulders are up and their butts down. And what'd you call it? I always tell everyone you got the left hand and the feet work together. But how did you call it?
Man, I don't know, it sounds corny, but I'm always trying to tie my hands to my feet so they coincide with each other. If I want left rein and right leg at the same time, or right rein and right leg at the same time, it's almost never both reins and left leg. I don't know why, but it's never left leg for me. But anyway, after you get your hands and your feet tied together, then tie it to their feet.
Yeah,
and
that's the big one.
It's, and hey, honestly, I'm not good at it yet.
Oh, yes. I've been talking about this for years, and the fact that, like, when I was rodeoing, there's a lot of guys that I knew the angles, like we talked about, like what I was confident in. I could hit the barrier, get my rope at the right time. I would get it on him right there where I knew the money was. I'd try to get him come back, get faced, go to the pay window. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned the angles pretty good. But when it come down to starting being able to make these horses, I remember that the only two people I knew of that knew the feet was Trevor Brazil and Joseph Harrison. And I'm serious, because you guys knew where to put the feet. Like, to me, that so many horses you got to ride to be able to find that, it feels like.
Man, I throw him a shout out every time I get a chance, because he's one of my heroes, man. He's great at what he does, and he's trained all of his own, and I looked up to that because I've trained all of my own. I never
Just put it on mute.
Yep. I like to admire that in a guy, training his own stuff. And so Colin
Von On.
Yep, Colin Von On is where I got pretty much, everything that I do, really. I got to ride with him some when I was pretty young, and he was going to school over here at Durant, and become kind of friends, and I looked up to him a lot because he roped awesome and his horses were great, So I just kind of mimicked everything that he did, to be real honest. And those guys like that, when I first started rodeoing, I had some of the older crowd. They tell me, hey, don't get discouraged, if you're not doing good, or if you don't make them the first time, and, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And their reasoning behind all of it was, we get out here on the trail and horses, going bad, and, maybe we don't do, a good enough job of keeping our horses together and stuff like that. Well, honestly, that's why I waited so long. Part of the reason and why I waited so long about, that and I was broke. That helps. But I wanted to be able to have it to where once I got out there on the road, that I could fix them in the runs. I could critique on them, have a nice steer, and get to practice and win and fix on my horse while we did it. Well, I think that kind of stuff is very, very important. It is the reason I feel like, I ain't going to say I picked a good partner, 'cause she's sitting right here, but I picked a good partner to start with. I've always rode with a veteran. I like to rode with a guy that's been there, knows where we're going, all the stuff. I did it amateuring, and I did it pro rodeoing as well. But I think that having it to where I could keep my horses together was a huge help in not having to skip finalses. You know what I mean? Being able, I got to make it the first time that I went, and I got to make it every time that I went until I was done wanting to go. The horses, I think, is the reason for that. Because there's a lot of guys that's more talented than me with their rope. Jake Long heads the feet. Them guy Junior heads the feet. They're not even healers. They head the feet, which is awesome. But
what do you mean by head the feet?
Oh, they just rope the feet wherever they're at. Doesn't matter where they're at. You can get them on the wrong side or way off out there.
They are playmakers, ain't they?
Oh, the other day, Junior healed one. He was in an announcer stand with a guy. He just healed him anyway. That's awesome. But I'm not talented enough for that. I got to get the cow kind of right here where I need him.
Well, you've always done such a good job of putting yourself in a good spot that a lot of times you didn't have to pull off a lot of shots. Like, that's one thing when we roped, is like you were always in the right sweet spot right there where you set it up. But speaking of on, how about how good of a spring or early summer he's having? That run, those runs they were made over there at Reno.
That was awesome.
That short round run, it was like glass. It's just so smooth. Come in there first hop, just set up, just like you were talking about on how well he can put them heel horses right there in the right spot. First hop, great finish, smooth as hell. Wins Reno. And then I think maybe they were up there in Dakotas. Did you see that one shot where that steer fell down the corner?
I didn't see it, but somebody said something about it yesterday at the rodeo. Wellington.
It was rank.
They said it was awesome. I didn't see it.
It was rank. Yes.
But there you go
just
again.
Dirty.
Andy has been hanging out over there with Collie for however long. And
because those guys were buds for a really long time, right? So this is almost like
back before Andy was ever making the finals.
For Andy, this is almost like a dream come true to rope with his Because they kind
a little bit
Von On was almost a mentor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And they rope together all the time, and so they've got their run, and their run is just amazing when they make it. So, and then, like you said, I mean, Colley's got great heel horses. So he's not going to get in bad spots.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, man, you've had a stud of a career. Your stats are badass. Like you say, you started in 17, made it every year until you said you were going to be done. 6 times to the NFR. You're 7-time AQHA World Champion, and then a 3 times American Rope Horse Futurity World Champion. Not only that, the American, I mean, you've had some big wins throughout your career, but
I'm a lucky guy.
I know it. I know it. It's amazing what happens when you work really hard, how the luck just kind of seems to fall right in the guy's lap. But what I thought was so cool is the fact that, like I said, you kind of came about it on a different side, in my opinion. I've watched a lot of guys learn how to rope really good and win really good. And then I've watched some of them become a better horseman later, where you went the other route. You went the horsemanship route first, and then the roping kind of came as you were establishing it. So how did all this come up? Where do you originate from? Where did it all go to? Who mentored you? How did you get to be when basically till when you and I started roping? How did it all kind of fall together?
Man, so when I was young, I lived, the first place that I ever lived where people were good with a horse was Howard and Lance McFarland's place. And they run the Stony Brook division of Sweet Lake Land and Old Fitztown. And I learned a lot about a horse, about a young horse, about colts. They were 2 and 3 year old guys. I mean, they rode colts real good. And then once I got where I used my rope pretty good, and I got to go jackpotting quite a little around the house there, and that's where I met Tommy Mather, man, that built all this stuff around the place. Well, we got to be buds, and he worked for Bobby Lewis, and they needed some summer help. So it started out as that. I went to work for him in the summer. I think I was maybe 16, maybe. I don't remember for sure, but I think I was maybe turned 16 that summer. And, man, I'd been around a lot of guys that roped good. I mean, Jody Raymer, I basically grew up with him. He's a little older than me, but might as well be my brother. He's a good dude. Him and Chad Raymer and them, they live right there 10 miles south of me. And Jody and them, they had some nice horses. And Jody's a good hand, trained good. But he would always have just a little handful of horses. And that, when I got to Bobby's there for that summer, it was the first time I'd ever been anywhere where there was 100 of them. And they were...
So the first time you went to Bobby Lewis's?
Yes, sir.
And how old were you?
I think I turned 16 that summer.
And just plentiful of horses?
Bro, they were everywhere. I mean, they're literally stacked on top of each other everywhere, and they were pretty. They're big, strong, pretty, primped, proper, not a hair out of place, and they functioned. No matter what their job was, whether they were a cow horse or a cutter or a rope horse, did not matter. They functioned. I mean, there was a lot of great horses. And I don't use that term a whole lot about horses being great. I mean, there's a lot of good horses in this world, very few great ones, and I'm telling you, that guy had a ton of great horses. Like, they just operated, which he's a great hand, you know. So I got to hang out there that summer, and then I went back for the winter break. And then pretty much every little bit of spare time I got to spend, I spent it there, you know what I mean, and hanging out with Bob and them and roping. And I learned a lot about a horse from Bobby. And he, to be honest, he's not a good teacher. You know, like we had talked about how Clinton is a great instructor. Bob is not a good instructor. If you want to learn from Bob, you have to watch, because I think he knows exactly what he's doing, obviously, but it's hard for him to tell you right away because it's all feel. He's just feeling it happen and the timing of the feed and stuff, and he's connecting it all together and making it move and operate. And I learned a lot of that just watching him. So I'd have to give the most of my horsemanship as far as being able to connect the dots to Bob.
Because how long did you live and ride with Bob?
Man, solid for 11 years, and then off and on from the time I was, probably turned 16, and then I probably 32 or something, 16, 18 years. I don't know, long time.
Because you would ride a lot of horses during the week, and then you would amateur rodeos on the weekends. So you were one of the few, in my opinion, that did a really good job of training them, really good job of riding them. But you also made sure that you went and competed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I noticed, because that's a really hard balance. We talked about that earlier this morning, training and roping. You know, the ropers never train, the trainers never rope.
Right.
And I thought you did a good job of balancing the two.
Man, you just I would just take it, I'd have a couple of those colts that were ahead of the others, and they were doing, pretty good. And so today I would ride those for me, just heel on them, throw them away, quit worrying about prim and proper, and just rope. And tomorrow I would change it up, and I would go back to, slow and do what I needed to them, and ride a couple of those other colts that way. Well, before too long, my colts were better. They could take more. You could put a little more on them, and I healed better too. Like we just got better together all the time. And I think it was because of that. If you shelter them all the time, then they're at the end of their stage, they're sheltered. And if you do it all the time yourself, then you're sheltered. You that's why they say, man, horse trainers train horses and team ropers rope. But you can do both. It's just, you kind of got to have a little discipline to you to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's a definite management for sure. I always recommend on the head side, everyone, if they ever have the opportunity to get a practice horse, get on there and go get your reps in if you need to tighten up any of your stuff. And then, yeah, like you said, if you have a horse right there that kind of needs to expose and get up to that level, you're going to rope on them too. And then you're also able to manage what you have and then build up those horses coming up. And it's a great balance, really is.
It's funny when you said get a practice horse for a header, and I believe in it for a header. And I don't for a heeler, and I'll tell you why.
It's different.
Well, Paul Eves, he's one of my bestest good buds. And anyway, he said one day we were talking about it, and he's like, "Man, Joey, have you like a practice horse that you can run 50 on?" I said, "Man, no, I don't do that." He said, "Well, how come, man?" I said, "Man, it's not the same, man. When they hit the turn, they don't hit the turn, with their body right, and then they don't follow the right way, and they don't hit the ground right behind when I put it down there and stuff. They're just, honestly, they're not good enough. That's why they're practice horses. I want like real reps. If I'm going to do it, I want to ride a good one." And man, being there at Bob's, at any given time, I had 30, 35 head of them around there that you could heel on, and really heel on. So not having something to do it on wasn't a thing.
An option.
Yeah, man, I could just run 2 on this one for me and run 3 on that one for me. Well, I could run 30 steers a day for me and run 40 a day for them other horses and just change it up on them like that. Well, it was way better because I got to ride a real good horse all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's definitely where a lot of people don't have the opportunity for sure. Because I know, like, for a lot of guys growing up, like, say they're learning how to rope. Mm-hmm. They're learning timing. Mm-hmm. So they're just trying to get on some stuff where they can get reps in. But you were able to do that on high quality. That's a huge advantage.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, like we talked about learning the feed, it's amazing how many reps it takes to get that feel and just all the little tweaks along the thing. And like you talked about earlier today, you're talking about, man, if I'd have known this 10 years ago or 5 years ago, where you could be now. And
yep.
The horsemanship's almost like the Bible. It may be only that thick, but it never ends.
Exactly.
Like you're learning something just constantly on it.
Exactly.
Like today, it was so much fun just to kind of find where the feet and the hands were to soften up some stuff in the corner. And I had a blast out there. It was fun. And it's fun watching you get on yours too.
Well, and it's stuff that, getting to go rope with guys, and don't get me wrong, when you get to this level of team roping, everybody ropes good, man. It just is what it is. But to go spend time with other guys and learn, what, how they look at it. It's not even necessarily that they're doing that much different than you. They're just going about it different than you. We're all doing the same thing. They're just doing it a little different and seeing it a little different. And some of it works for you and some of it doesn't. And, my granddad, when I was a kid, which when I said that earlier, I spent several, time with a lot of guys. I got to spend a lot of time with Richard Stowers when I was young. and I got to spend quite a little time with Robbie Schroeder because of Bobby, because Bob and Rob, they were real tight, you know. And I got to spend some time with some, sure enough, good hands, and several of them, to where, and then we would go to the horse shows when I was a kid, and then you got J.D. Yates and Jay Wadhams and Brad Lund and Clay Logan, and I mean, just the list goes on and on. And I was the little kid of the runt of the bunch, you know, but everybody took pretty good care of me. You know, everybody kind of looked after me and made sure if I needed something, I had it. And, you know, and I look up to them guys today because of it, because a part of my career, you know, it accessed off of that, because if them guys would have been bad for me, I might have hated it. You know, I might have thought, you know what, these guys are a bunch of guys. I ain't doing that. But they were good. You know, they were good dudes, and I have huge respect and love for several of them today. I like to watch them do good.
What is the culture like when you was in the AQHAs? I've never been to an AQHA show, but what was the culture like? How did everyone, did you have to kind of watch out, or was everything pretty good? Because when I go to the fraternities, man, I love it there. Like everyone's rooting for one another. And it always helps.
Bulldog.
A little bit. A little bit, but it's one of those things too, where it's like, so why do they give you so much information? And I'm like a counselor. I said, no one's worried about me. Nobody's worried about me beating them. I said, I just enjoy getting to watch it. Like, I love the knowledge, and it gives me stuff to practice where, like I said, I enjoy the better horsemanship of it, to where I'm trying to produce better horses myself. And it's the knowledge. Like I said, it helps with my clinics, and it just helps for me, the fact I have to have goals. If I have a goal, then I'm going to, just like trying to get to the fraternity finals in October. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I got to go to them. Well, if I'm going to go to them, I'm coming here. Yesterday I was at Trevor's, because it makes me get out of my circle. It makes me get out of my comfort zone. But like when I'm there, everyone is just so dang nice and rooting for one another. And it's like, hey, we're almost all in this together. We all want everyone to win, but we want to win first. Well, so there is that, but I don't see no cutthroat.
Yeah, I want to watch you do good, but I would like you standing behind me at the window. You know what I mean? But like in the AQHA, when I was younger, it was a little bit cliquish. You know, like everybody kind of had their own little deal and their crowd of their people, but all the guys were good to the other guys. You
almost a little possessive, like, hey, this is my stuff, don't get in there.
Yeah, man, like kind of over there visiting with your customer, you know, and they're like, hey, what are you doing over here? Not me so much, because I'm 16, 17 years old, but at the same time, it's so much different now, because. And I don't know why, I don't know why it's different. But you got a whole bunch of new guys now that we didn't have back then. Back then, you know, there was just a handful of guys, and those guys won. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to figure out how to beat those guys so bad, because I would feel like I would make me a good run somewhere, and they would just trample right over the top of me score-wise. And on the way home, I would tell Bob, I don't know, man. We need to get somebody to start videoing this or something to figure out what I'm doing wrong. He said, you ain't doing nothing wrong, sugar. That horse was good, you know, there today. Oh, okay, well, I won 8th today. Like, I'm tired of 8th. I want to win first. He said, yeah, man, I get it. Just stay hooked. And that deal was a little bit pay your dues kind of a deal. Keep showing up, you know. Let the judges know who you are. Let them see that that wasn't an accident, that you did it, kind of a deal. And I remember the year before I started getting to do good, at the World Show, I had a little black gelding. We called him Biscuit. He was so cool, man. I just loved him. He'd be any 15, 16-year-old boy that healed pretty good. Any of those ones' favorite horse they could have. I mean, he was just so sweet, but he was a butt dragging, cool little dude, and he got on the end of the rope real good. You know, he called him the black brick wall, because when he got on the end of it, I don't care if they weighed 600, and he wasn't that big, but I mean, he would just hunker to the ground and kill them. And I made a good run on him in the finals at the World Show. And when I come out of the tunnel, of course, Brad and Clay Lowe and them, they're my buddies, and they were sitting there and told me, you know, hey, good work, sugar. You're going to do good right there. And I think it was a 20-horse finals. They had a shootout round, so they had some more horses in it and stuff. And I won like 13th, like a finalist. And I asked JD after the deal was over, I said, man, what do I need to do? He said, you got to stop throwing there. You cannot throw in the first and second jump. It's got to be on the third and fourth jump. And my answer was pretty goofy because I asked the question. So I should have just kept my mouth shut probably. But I just told him, I'm not doing that. That's unrealistic for me. This thing licked the cow through the turn, held his body good, lined up just perfectly. Like I was thinking maybe Dog Kuntz, if he wanted to ride this thing, he could just jerk him back on him. And honestly, I felt like doing it the other way was almost Jimmy rigged. I'm not holding him way off over here and going to the fourth jump and trying to slide him 30 feet. That ain't how a heel horse operates, or not how I think he should operate, in my opinion. So I just told him, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to keep doing it how I do it. And if they like it, cool. And if they don't, I guess that'll be fine. And the next year, I got to show Street. We just, by chance, entered him at a little sweepstakes deal at Lincoln, Nebraska. And it had to be during the regular horse show. So I got him qualified through the regular horse show. So we decided to show him at the World Show, and they let me win second on him at the World Show. It was the first time I'd ever got a buckle or a globe or anything like that up there. So that was pretty sweet. Honestly,
and Street, what was Street's stats?
Man, he was, that would have been 2015, maybe 14 or 15. So it's 24 and he's 20 now. So he'd have been 10, something like that. And I'd been riding him at the amateurs and circuit rodeoing on him in the good jackpots. I mean, by then he was what he is,
NFR's also the American.
He had never been nowhere like that yet.
No, but I mean his stats throughout Street's career.
Yes.
That horse, yeah.
Yeah, I rode him at the finals 5 times. Not all the way through every time, 3 times all the way through, and then a couple of times I had to swap. And but I won the American.
Because he was one of your horses. He was kind of the first one. And
yeah, man, he paid for a lot of stuff around here. My whole rodeo career and getting the job that I got at that time and all this stuff. I mean, it all come from him.
And what school is he still out in the pasture?
Yeah, he'll die right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
That's
I'll
pretty
feed
cool.
him until he dies. My wife rides him, and he looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that.
So when I first started seeing you rope, well, you and Jack won all the time. You and Jackie would rope all the time.
Yeah, I remember you over there
numbered
messing with my
ropings.
partner. We're trying to win, and you're down there talking to my partner. I'm like, hey, Chuck, get away from here. I'm trying to win something. Yeah. What are you doing?
So that's where, and you guys every time won money. World Series finals in Vegas. And
not to cut you off, but I figured it up that one year. We only went to 4 opens, and we won it was 48,000 or something at the 4 opens. And so it was averaged itself out to 12,000 a time or something,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it was 5 row. I don't remember, but not 4 or 5 opens. Won a bunch, yeah.
And so I think that year was, I think it was 2016. I was ERA rodeoing, and so I was doing a lot of clinics, and we got kicked out of the PRCA. And so I was going to a lot of amateur rodeos with Jackie, and so I was roping with Peyton and a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was starting to see you. I mean, you guys, who were you roping with at the time?
Mike Bacon.
Mm-hmm. I think that was 2016, and you guys were just everywhere, lighting them up. Always rode a good horse, always winning money, not winning it. And you guys won, I forget how much money you guys won amateur rodeoing that year. It was in the 30-some thousands, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And you were doing that on the weekends.
Yeah, yes, sir. That Mike, he had it so good.
He's a winner.
He's a great partner. The only thing he didn't want to have to do is he didn't want to have to enter, and he really didn't want to have to drive. Other than that, he'd do whatever.
He had it steers.
Oh, man, and he did such a good job. He was fine with it. But we roped together for 5 years. And the last couple of years, I was getting a little ambitious. The first couple of years we roped, man, honestly, it was Bob's fault. I had a yellow that I wound up selling to Big Bob Harris. We called him Ted. He was drop dead gorgeous. And I was liking him pretty good, and Bob said, hey, man, you can take that thing and go amateur and go a little bit. And it just started it back off again. I never quit. But anyway.
Get it?
Yep. Big Bob wound up with that yellow. But the last probably 2 or 3 years that we roped, man, I was getting ambitious. I wanted to go more, and we were one good because Mike didn't mess up, man. He turned all the cows. So I wanted I wanted to run all the cows we could run. So I always had several horses around, and Mike had a bunch of horses and roped all the time over there. So the last couple of years we amateured, we had like 5 cards, IRA, CRRA, UPRA, CPRA, and maybe ACRA. And we made all the finalses and a deal. And between all the finalses that one year with finalses included, just amateur rodeoing, not counting any of the jackpot or any of that, I think Mike had figured it all up because it was pretty cool, really. Just amateur rodeo, and we win just a tick over 100,000.
Yeah, and that's pretty dang good at that time. And like I said, on the weekends, as you're working during the weeks and then have to go to your shows and get everything that you was able to hold up in your end. And because for me that year, that's when I was trying to get my horse herd kind of started and established, and because I didn't know where the ERA was going and all that stuff. And so I ended up started seasoning a horse that Jackie had started, Old Sailor, and was able to go to a few rodeos and get him seasoned through a lot of that, and then stumbled upon Oh Nasty, which was a blowed up barrel horse, if I remembered right.
What a horse, yeah.
And then you ended up training him.
Well, so we headed on it. They had kind of tinkered with the barrels and that kind of stuff, and he's a kind of a big, he's a big, strong kind of made horse, and so.
Because that horse, I just stumbled upon him. It was one of them. I think Ty Harris had him for a little bit, and he was like, "Man, I need to put one more focus in calf."
Seems like Cheney. Now it was Spate. Now it's Parchman. Married.
Yeah,
Parchman.
she had it as a barrel horse.
Yep.
And
so
came from Ryan
had
Padone.
And we got it over there at the ranch, and it was when Ryan sent it up there. Clay Jean rode him. I rode him. We kind of tag teamed him a little bit there, and that horse he did get really good, really fast. And then I don't remember what happened in the to-doings, but we lost him back to the barrel race, which I think was always the deal. They just want to give him a different job, see if he'd come on to the party. And anyway, when I pulled up over there, I remember when you got it. It was in the fall. We were Robertson Hill at the roping, and seen him. Dang, I know that horse. And then you said, I said, yeah, that's him. And he was a little green yet. Seems like maybe Archie had rode it some or something.
I think so.
Yeah. And he was a little green yet, but that horse could fly. And he was so good-minded.
Well, when I got on him, I didn't really feel the speed. Like he kind of grunted on the way to the steer, and he just kind of felt a little tight in the corner. He was wanting to get load up in that corner a little bit and stuff. And so they was basically sending me to see if I kind of help him a little bit with him. Then after a while, like I said, Ty was just like, I need a rope calves. I don't need a head horse. And it kind of, like I say, it fell in my lap.
Yeah.
And then, so I bought him. And, well, then Ryan Padone came over to the house one day, and she showed me some videos of when she was fraternitying on him. She set a record maybe somewhere in Arizona. I forget what it was. But when I watched the video of that son of a buck going from the first to the second barrel, I was like, oh, there's way more gears. There's way more gears in there. So I started kind of waking him up a little bit right there.
Took the run out.
Yeah, he had some game now. Yeah, he was all there. Well, like I said, I didn't know it until I seen that film.
Right.
And yeah, he was all there.
It was a good old
So I had kind of my herd built up that year. Well, I remember you always kept saying like, hey, what's it like at the NFR? I'm like, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see you at the rodeos, remember that?
Yeah.
And so then I was looking for kind of a run going towards the 2017.
You're going to tell the story, ain't you?
Oh, hell yeah. And so Jackie's like, why don't you row with Joseph? And it's like, well, I went with him. I mean, I don't know why you can't. And I'm like, he does. I'm like, it does, like it, because I have to have, when I rope, I have to have somebody over the top looking for that first shot that finishes. Like that's how my style is. I can't have them hanging back. I'm not going to bring them to them. I want them up there hungry as hell. And when I turn them right there, I'm looking to finish. Like that's just how my style works. And I was like, yeah, that does look it. And so I think I texted you. Wasn't that right? Hey,
I don't remember if it was a text or you called or what.
I think I texted you to say, hey, you said you've been bragging. I think because I seen you at one of them rodeos up there in North Texas, like, hey, what's that bright lights and I'm tired. Like, I want to make the freaking finals. And then I said, hey, you ready to go to that little 10-header at the end of the year in Vegas?
No, you didn't say in Vegas. You said you want to go to that 10-header over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Where? Idiot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to punch you and me. You for saying it, me for answering.
And so then 2017, we rolled into it.
It was nice, yeah. It was, man. I honestly, when we first got started, I don't know for sure if you knew how little that I had as far as, because, man, I had a little rig that you could go around an amateur rodeo in, but I didn't have a good enough rig to go rodeoing. And the only thing that I had when we started roping to go rodeoing was the horses.
Mm-hmm.
And the ability. I had the horses and then okay. But nothing else. Didn't have the rig, didn't have no money, nothing. But I'm like, hey, this is as good a chance as I'm ever going to get, man. I got Chuck Crawford and I've got sweet horses. So
I remember every time you would say something like, I said, hey, you said you want to see those bright lights in Vegas.
Oh, no, man.
This shit ain't easy.
No, it sucked. Part of it really sucked. Yeah.
What do you think, what do you think that when you started, like when we got in the rig in 17, until you started kind of getting the feel of it, what was the mentality shift? What was it that you didn't see then that all of a sudden how was it you looked into it before 2017 to when basically you started making it year after year? Man, honestly, it just, if I had something I was going to tell the younger crowd that I think could help them right away, is they need to stop having so much pride. Because I was way proud of my horses and my roping, and I felt like, well, I got out there and I got good horses and I could catch, but so do they. They had good horses and they could catch too, and they had already been there for a pretty good long while and already making it in the deal. So now I'm not trying to keep a seat. I'm trying to get a seat at the table. I'm circling around the table waiting on one of these guys to get up where I can sit down. And I remember, I'm going to tell a story too. We were at Vernal, Utah, and Walt Woodard, we're riding, he come riding by the back of the trailer. I'm on one side saddling, you're on the other side. Well, I'm going to tell him what he told you too. So he stopped there and he said, man, Joseph, you've been, I got to do it Walt Woodard style. Joseph, should have been roping good, bud. I said, well, thanks, Walter. He said, just want to let you know, if there's only one spot left at the end, we're fighting for it. I ain't going to lay down. I ain't going to let you have it. That's what I wouldn't expect you to, Walter. You could hear you laughing on the other side of the trailer. He's a great storyteller, isn't he?
He stopped on the other side of the trailer because he could hear you laughing. He said, Charlie, Walter.
Hello, Walter.
He said,
how are you doing today? I'm great, Charlie. I'm great. Thank you for asking.
My God.
I love it.
You want to know what's great about being a 2-time world champion, Charlie? He said, what's that, Walt? Everything.
Everything.
Everything's great about being a 2-time world champion. I was going, yeah, take that, Chuck. You shouldn't have laughed.
I love it. Great storyteller, man.
I love that dude.
Yeah, so upbeat. He makes me laugh.
Oh, but honestly, man, like losing a little bit of the pride and putting so much on myself, like I won't never forget one of the first times that it didn't even make any sense to me. I don't remember if it was the fourth round or if it was in the callbacks but it was we were good either on 3 or on 4 in the call. I don't remember. But at the West Star Open, one year I roped with TB Trevor, and it was one of the first times that I'd roped with him just a little bit, but it was one of the first kind of big ropings that I'd got to rope with him at, and man, I don't know what happened. I don't know if his pinky finger didn't work or what happened, but he throwed it in between him and the cow. And kind of got him a good roll. Like I'm kind of going, oh yeah, baby. And he throwed it in between him and the cow. And like at that point in my life, in my career, it would have made me distraught. Like I would have been out there trying to figure out, I would have been running into the trailer like one of them dinosaurs that run into stuff with their head.
Yeah.
And man, he just rolled his rope up and walked the back and got off and give his horse to his driver. And there was a little kid over there, and it was wanting an autograph, and he scooped it up and was taking pictures and visiting with people, and it
never happened.
It didn't matter. The whole thing on it is it did not matter. Which obviously he was well established in his career by that point and all this stuff. But later I asked him because it just didn't even make any sense to me. I wasn't upset at all. So I asked him, and he said, man, if you dwell on bad runs just keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
Stop dwelling on bad stuff. Like, the shortest memory wins out here, man. Quit worrying about it. And honestly, that was one of the best advice that anybody had ever given me, because I remember you and I, that time I went through a little spell there. It was like 10 days and I couldn't catch. Didn't matter what happened. I rode street, I rode chip. I think I borrowed one somewhere. I couldn't catch on it either. I mean, I'm telling you, I couldn't catch. And we were at Coeur d'Alene, I think, when we kicked the bucket several times there. And
forgot about the bucket.
Yeah. Well,
you got to tell that story.
I wasn't actually trying to kick you with the bucket, but it turns out I'm just pissed, and I kicked the bucket, and I nearly got Chuck with the bucket. And so
remember about the putter throw? Where was that Spanish fork?
Yeah.
I think you got one Spanish fork, and you threw your head back and popped the tail, and that rope went flying. Yeah. Hit me in the head.
It did.
Said, here comes the putter throw.
Oh, man. Well, I kicked the bucket, and it almost hit him, and I looked up, and zing, here comes the bucket back at me. I'm like, holy shit, that was Chuck. And I thought, well, we can do this again. I just tried him on again with the bucket. Well, we did. I don't know. We served her back and forth there, volleyed it 2 or 3 times, and he started laughing, and I did. I thought, yeah, that was nice. He said, you good? I said, I don't think I'm good. He's like, man, I'm hungry. I'll get something to eat. Like, he wasn't worried about it at all, but I was, And honestly, after that, it made it even better for my partners and stuff. When my partner would be doing bad,
find something to laugh about.
Bagging on him. Heck, lift him up,
Yep.
Chadro, when I rode with Chadro, and he would get down on himself, want to do a good job, and I just keep telling him, man, Superman, man, just keep trying him on,
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's the partner that I wanted to be. I wanted to be a good partner, not just a partner that could enter or, help drive and all the stuff. I wanted to be a partner that could turn you around if you was having bad luck. And once I got over a little bit of the fact of, I'll tell you this, I've had to redo it, Chuck. Like for cheerleading and that stuff, like do a bad job. That's something that I love, my very favorite thing to do. And then want to get down on myself about it at the function, and then it just be over there and dawn on me. I'm like, man, you are being a pansy. Like, you have got to stop. My wife's good at reminding me times like that, and she comes in clutch like that. But that's the best advice I could give is don't get mad about it. Learn from it. You know what I mean? Don't be aggravated. Learn. Every time we do good, it's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And every time we do bad, it's another learning opportunity. Yeah.
So what? So you'd end up. I forgot how many times you'd won the AQHA up to that point before you made your first NFR.
The very first time that I won it was the first year that I made it. You and I
got it. And you ended up still getting it. That was right.
Yep.
And then so we go to the NFR, and I know because how old were you? 32.
Man, I'm 30. I was 30.
30.
Yep.
And so that's a pretty good amount of patience until you end up riding that yellow arena.
Well, the rest of all my buddies, as fast as they got their cards, they're gone. You know what I mean? And I got to be honest with you, I wouldn't dare say names, and I love them all, but very few of them made it. You know what I mean? They all took off. They wasn't ready. You know what I mean? They didn't have their stuff together. And honestly, some of them had the money to do it and that stuff. And if I would have had the money to do it, I'd have probably been just like them in the truck. Let's try them on.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, I didn't have the money. So I had to work. And
well, it molded you. Like I said, you went out another route. You learned the horses, and then you found the roping, and then it worked out. And especially where you're able to ride for that shot where there's money. I mean, that was just a blessing in disguise.
My very first partner in life, like an actual partner, which Bubba Buck and I and Nathan McCorder, and we all roped when we was kids, and we won good because them boys, when we was young, they headed, good and caught pretty good, so we won a lot. But I got to go with Claydale Hurst for a little while, for about a year there, maybe a little longer. And anyway, Paul Dale, he said, I got flagged out somewhere one night, and maybe, I don't remember, but kind of bummed me out, man. Like, we made a good run, and Claydale did a good job, and I got flagged out. And it bummed me out. I'm out there at the truck sulking, like a sissy, and here he comes, and he's, man, good shot. Good shot. What? Flagged us out, bro. We didn't win nothing. Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Let's like nonchalant about it. What do you mean, don't worry about it? Not winning sucks. He said, yeah, man. He said, but here's the deal. You throw there every time, okay? All summer. You throw there. And if they flag you out, we'll laugh about it all the way home. Don't worry about it. You sharpen your sword until you can hit the part of the line where they can't do it. Just heal them as fast as you can heal them legally. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, I might have, if he got to the trailer that night and said, oh man, you got to back up just a little, baby. We're going to get money right there. Well, I'm liable to have been a second jump guy the rest of my life.
Right.
I don't know. But he said to throw, so I did.
Stuck.
Yeah.
So what was that first finals like? Because we talked about it a little bit today, like the first time you ride in the box and you start seeing it. Like, for me, it was so surreal because, like I said, first time I got there, like I wouldn't be a dirt angel in the head box. Like I was so excited about it. And I remember riding through the back of that tunnel and I looked up and you could see the pyro smoke just a little bit over the top of that arena. And then you could see the top row, but you kind of barely could because of the smoke. Like it was so surreal. And I was like, oh, I got a job to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got
stop looking around.
Right. Looked like a 3-year-old that never been to town.
Man, it was, well, obviously it's a dream come true. You know what I mean? Not everybody knows that because we don't do this podcast stuff much and stuff, but I only planned to rodeo the one time. Like, that's the whole reason that you and I quit roping, because I told you, hey, I got to quit. My people don't want me, doing it.
Right. You had a job to do.
Yeah. We were just going to get to do it the one time just to prove to me that I could.
Yeah. And I was bummed. I was like, gosh. Dang.
I know, man. It sucked. I did us wrong, but.
Oh, yeah. It worked out.
So, hey, we made it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember the day the books opened on the National Finals Rodeo. I was in the arena. We're working World Show horses and stuff like that. And it was like my alarm went off because I set one on my phone. Hey, you don't miss the books there. And I don't even know if everybody had to call in, but I pretty much wanted to. I think you entered everywhere that year, but I wanted to enter that one. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. You know what I mean? Hey, this is real. Well, when we get there and we're going to run the first one, like the breaking the steers in, or running through the run through and stuff. I mean, yeah, we're in the arena and everybody's having a good time, and hey, it's national finals, baby. But that first steer, man, I think we were third the first night. No, I know we were. I don't have to think. I know we were third out the first night, and the first guy goes. There's only one more guy, and then me. And I got the TV right here, and everybody's hollering and doing the deal, and you're right behind the curtain, and man, it was real. Now it's real. It's serious. We really are fixing to get to run one at the National Finals Rodeo, man. And I was so nervous. I don't get nervous about stuff.
It was so fun.
I was so nervous. And
that's what so many people ask about that, and everybody's got a different story, but it's the one thing you'll never forget.
No. All my buddies were making fun of me back home because they're all watching it on the TV, and it's not dark in that tunnel, but it sure enough ain't as bright as it is once you ride under that.
And it's extremely narrow. You don't get a chance to swing your rope.
Man, like I rode under the deal, and like the shot from the light hit my eyes, and it's like I'm sitting in the box I don't want to mess this up, so I'm trying to get my
recalibrate,
eyes ready. And Jody and them, Raymer and them, they were making fun of me, calling me after the deal. It's like, bro, what is wrong with you? You look like there's something wrong with you in the box. And I'm trying to get where I can see. But anyway, we get money on the very first one. And honestly, I got to the back of the tunnel. I'm like, this is easy. This is nice. Everybody said that's hard. Ain't hard. But it was about the fourth round when I hit that one in the tail. That felt hard. But anyway, I had some good help though. I mean, because I feel like I get along good with dudes and pretty easy. I feel like I'm fairly easy to get along with.
Well, we probably got along. I would probably say that, like, I've never felt anything more brotherhood than what you and I felt like. Like, we were brothers.
Yeah, we butted heads a lot.
We were like brothers.
Yeah.
We got along great, but then we damn near fight.
Yeah.
Then we'd arm wrestle.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we'd drink. Then we were fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And then remember when we arm wrestled in the back truck?
I wonder what Sneak was thinking, man. You know what I mean? He's never been out here on this trail. He's 19 years old. And
That's when both of us said, maybe not so many margaritas at the next Mexican restaurant. I think Snake cut us off. He goes, no more Patron for you
He's
guys.
10-2 up here like, oh, my God, this man.
Remember when we used to enter? When we talking about entering?
What do you mean, we? Yeah. Yeah, get your 7 chuckles off. Yeah.
Yes, this is Joseph Harrison. I'd like to enter the team roping.
You told the lady that had T-shirts and ball caps and stuff that you were going to send her one?
Yeah,
Bro.
I'm Joseph Harrison. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm going to make the NFR this year.
It's okay.
I got
man.
some merchandise.
Charlie had his name all on his rig. So, while Charlie was asleep in the rig, we would cut people off and flip them off and everything. I'm like, hey, Charlie Crawford here. Yeah, good for you. So,
Yeah, we got even a lot. It was literally like two brothers. Yeah, it was fun. Well, so how's retirement? So you retired now. You made this NFR 6 times in a row. Just got back in, 3 or 4 o'clock this morning from
man, I'm going to
looked at a
bag.
few amateurs.
Yeah, I retired. I want to bag on a couple of my buddies right quick right here because they always do this retirement bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
So Joey Lamont and Kobe Lovell, like they're retired. I want to say that's crap. The retirement thing. They both still rope for a living. So I just quit rodeoing out there where everybody else does.
Yep.
But man, being right here by the house, last summer was the first summer that I've been home maybe ever. Even when we were home working for Bob, from Thursday night on, man, I went to the rodeo, got back to the house, worked all day, went back to the rodeo. It was nonstop. So I didn't even know that I liked the lake, man. But I do truly like the lake. Like, it's great. We got the prettiest lake in our state 6 miles from my house. And Jody and I, we've got us a pontoon boat and a slip over there. And it's a ton of fun, man. We have a blast. And last summer, I think the furthest I got from the house amateur rodeo in about 4.5 hours. So no matter what, at any time, if I threw my sucker in the dirt, I'm 4 hours away from the house. No big deal. You can't do that in Puyallup.
That's no lie. It's a long way away from
if
home.
you're in Linden, Washington, and you decide, you know what, never mind this. You're 12 miles from Canada towards Vancouver, old son. Well, don't get me wrong. I'm glad I experienced. You remember the night we were there in Linden, and you were over there trying to talk to the protesters, the protesters.
Yeah.
And
I talk about that all the time.
Clay Smith and I were over there making fun of you. And then that's when I figured out there's hillbillies everywhere, man.
Yeah.
The dude in the white Dodge that smoked them out.
Yeah.
Bro, that was great.
That's classic.
I was going, there's hillbillies everywhere. That's great.
They're not only in Oklahoma, they're all the way up
They're
here.
everywhere. But honestly, I had a ton of fun last summer. Shane and I got to go around in amateur and jackpot and stuff, and we won good. He had a couple of good horses, and it was fun, man. I kept one of my rodeo horses, and I sold everything else. But
which one did you keep?
The Governor. Yeah, I can't sell him. He and I were boys, and it's fun to have him because it just case in point. Last night, Bubba Buck, he turns me sure enough a fast one back over there at Wellington and go 3.7. Gonna get good money. I don't know, $2,500 rodeo maybe. But just like that, I can supplement just a little extra. I don't have to come out of my horse training money or my funds money for bridles and saddles and stuff. I can just ease around and get a little of that amateuring and get and hang out with my buddies.
Yeah, because that's a good week down here.
Yeah.
Amarillo, Wellington, those jackpot what did you say that jackpot at Amarillo is $10,000?
Paid $10,000 a man this year. What a good roping.
And you're kind of all right there within that little circle.
Yep.
take off for 2 or 3 days right there, and you're not even, and it's on during the week. The great part about the R4s in Texas is during the week. You don't even have to miss the weekends. Because this weekend's Fort Worth, the American Rope Horse Futurity in Fort Worth, so literally get to sneak off during the week. And
man, I'm still hard-headed about it, though. I'm doing the same thing I was doing before. I said I wasn't going to, and I am. Bubba Buck, he wants to go, man, and he heads awesome, and he's my brother, and I want to go. So, man, tonight, I'm going to run one about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning at Whitesboro, and then I got to be at the Paint World in the morning, 8 o'clock. And then we're going to go to Buffalo during and Teague after tomorrow night. And I got to be right back up Saturday morning over there at 8 o'clock at the Futurity. But my dad, he laughs about it when I'm telling him my schedule. And he's going, oh, boy, you're dumb.
Really retired.
Yeah. Well, all it is a little sleep, Chuck.
Yeah.
I mean, it just.
So how do you catch up on your sleep?
You know, like yesterday, we did the amateur at Amarillo and then the jackpot, and then we pulled up over there, and I had about 3 hours before I was going to rope. So I laid in the truck, took a 2-hour nap, got up, drove it home. When I got home about, I don't know, it was probably a little after 2 o'clock this morning, I went ahead and watered the arena and put water down and stuff so we was ready to go this morning. And I laid down about, I don't know, 3:15. Got up at 5:45. But you can do a lot with 2 and 3 hours as long as it's periodically, you know. And
I remember that rodeo, and if a guy can get 3 or 4 hours here, 3 or 4 hours there, it doesn't always have to be 8 at once.
No,
Kind of, you almost get used to it.
Yep. Honestly, you kind of get legged up. You know,
yeah.
If you get a little legged up for it, then I figured it.
Because like right now, I couldn't stay up till 10 because I'm home all the time.
Yeah.
Have a routine.
Well, I can't either. I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock, but I'm getting up 5 o'clock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Going to beat the sun.
I have guys that'll get mad at me. I'll forget to call them the next morning because when I get up at 5 and I see that they call me at 10:30, well, I don't want to call them. I know they're sleeping at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to wake them up. Well, I'll get to doing something, forget, and they'll call me about 10 when they got up and say, hey, bro, you missed me last night, and then call me back this morning. So I started calling them back at 5 o'clock in the morning when I get up. Well, they started leaving that part out about me calling them back.
Well, now that you've got your own place, like I said, this is a sweet spot. You're right off the interstate. You're in such a good location right here. How far are you from Oklahoma City and Fort Worth?
Man, an hour and a half to the Fort Worth, and it's about an hour and 40 minutes to the fairgrounds, Oklahoma City.
And you're 2 minutes from the interstate?
In 4 minutes, I timed it the other day. In exactly 4 minutes, you're running 75 miles an hour.
Because I remember Jackie and I, we were almost talking about moving a little bit, and stuff like that. We're actually looking into Oklahoma and the fact of, you don't have the taxes ain't the same and stuff's cheaper. And I was like, man, I do like it in this area. The sand's good. You got trees. Location's good. Till I got about 4 miles from here and seen that one town wiped out.
Yeah, that was a doozy.
Yeah.
It tore a bunch of stuff up.
A couple naders around here.
Oh, man. Tornado season, it don't last very long. But, boy, for that 3 weeks or so, you kind of got to be watching.
Yeah, I think that hospital you said that got tore up, I think I seen whatever was on top of it, that tin was just wrapped around trees.
Man, there was a guy at the Dollar General and the Homeland and tore a grocery store up, man. But the best, I mean, it's not good. It affected people's lives. That Dollar Tree, I don't remember how many jobs they said it took away from people, but a lot, But the best part about where we're at right here is Marietta's a little town. It's just a little country town, But I'm 6 miles from Marietta and about 9 miles from Ardmore. And Ardmore's a big town. Just good town. It's got everything, good movie theater, all the shopping and stuff, So, and then, like you said, 4 minutes from the driveway, you're running 75 miles an hour, north or south.
Getting after it.
And it is a good location. And like you said, it's cheaper to live up here. Some of the guys that, that rope that's from down there that do the futurity stuff, and we've talked about it, about man, how much more expensive it is where they're at. And everybody wants to know how I get away with riding so few. That's everybody's first question, man. How do you get away with not riding anymore now? Well, my overhead's not that much. You know what I mean?
Quality over quantity. And
here's the deal. I don't want to be married to it. I do love it, and I want to always love it. Therefore, I don't want it to burn me out.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sick of it. So I'm only going to keep 18, 20 head of horses around here. It's about all we're going to keep.
So what is your program now? Now that you've been established, made the NFR, got your own place now, you're established. You have a training program now, and like I say, it's obviously it's as good as anybody's out there. Like you're the top American rope horse futurity winner of all time. I'm guessing that stat that popped out. That was pretty dang cool. And not only is it on one end, but you're getting the freaking heading figured out. Like the Air Force One and some ones are coming up. Like you're not just winning it on the heel side. Like you're starting now to be able to do it on both sides. So what is your training program? How do you get them started?
Man, I probably just like everybody else. We just kind of get them where we can swing our rope on them, stick a steer in the arena, and go to chasing them around. We use our Smarty quite a bit, and just the fundamental part of it. Honestly, I think patience is a big deal for the young ones. I try to ride them that way as far as either young to old or old to young, to where I can taper myself off or build myself up one way or another. It's real hard if you're gonna ride two of them 5 or 6 year olds that you got gin in and they're doing it, and then get on a long 3-year-old that ain't had but 15 steers healed on it, and you're going to heel on it right after you ride those, and then go from it right back to a 6 or 7, 8-year-old that's ginning. So, man, I try to do it to where I want to ride my real young ones either first thing or last, to where I want to have time. I don't want to feel rushed when I'm riding those babies. And then, Bob, he would get aggravated at me. I would bounce through them horses, and man, I would only run 2, maybe 3, 4 steers. 4 steers maybe at the max on a lot of those horses, especially those good ones. They don't need reps. They need schooled on and done the right way, and you don't want to get them hot and mad at you. So I take quality runs over quantity runs and kind of pick the cows that chase on them, stuff like that. So, man, I can ride a lot of horses in a short period of time and not be rushing through. So we don't, in the afternoon when it's hot, we don't work when it's bad hot. I don't want to. They don't want to either. By the time you get him loped around where you can start doing something on him, he's done.
Yeah, your ropes don't even want to.
No, your ropes don't want to. Nothing wants to.
Nothing wants
hot.
to. Yeah.
No. So I don't know, man. I think that everybody's got their own way, and obviously there's a lot of guys that their way works too because they win, and they do a good job. So I don't think there's a set way to do it. I just try to kind of go about it and feel my way through it every day.
When you're starting to look for the horses coming up, what are you looking for? What characteristics are you looking for? And some of the prospects that you're looking for, breeding, things like that.
Well, anymore, this sounds funny, but I've been trying to start with size because, we'd get bred them down to where they were so small. And I like a big horse. I like a nice size horse.
What size?
Man, honestly, Street's 15-1. Like a lot of people didn't really realize that he was that big. I'd tell people that he was that big, and they're like, man, in no way. You've been right up next to him. You know how big he was.
And then what was he bred like?
He was by Pepto Boonsmall and out of Playboy's Ruby. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he pretty much who's who on paper.
Yeah.
He should have been a real cutter. He just got big. Which they won 30 or 40,000 on him in the cutting. He just got big.
I was always shocked, too, that he never ended up being an AQHA Heel Horse of the Year. Like that always surprised me.
The only year he got hurt, the year you and I roped, he got hurt and didn't get to go like to Reno and that.
That's probably what it was, and the fact of being able to hold up all year is probably what held him back, huh?
Well, I thought that because in 18, I'm not going to say it like that. He got hurt in the trailer. I'm going to say it like that. And same thing. He was out the first half of the summer. I rode him the second half in the Northwest and all that stuff. I mean, he was fine. But then in 19, man, I rode him everywhere. I rode him at rodeos. I wouldn't even ride him. I rode him at Salinas. That's not even his setup.
Right.
But I did good at Salinas on him. And so I thought, man, if there was a year to put him in, let's put him in. Well, the year before in 18, I rode that mare quite a lot, Lula, and they let her win second for the horse of the year. But I thought, man, if they're going to let me win it on one, it'll be this
This
one.
is it.
I mean, Paul loves him. Jake Long loves him. All the guys love him, I didn't even get an honorable mention.
Yeah, that was wild.
Not even in the top 3 for the horses. Matter of fact, the horse that won the Horse of the Year, this Pilot, didn't make the finals. I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
But there again, for the longest time, I worried about what people thought about the program, about my horses, about everything. And then that kind of did it for me to where I quit worrying so much about that kind of stuff, because no matter what, right's right and wrong's wrong. If it feels good, doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter who thinks about it, nothing. I knew myself personally that was the best heel horse I could get on at that point in time, because I had rode. I'm not going to say that Paul's good one wasn't any better than him, but it didn't fit me any better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rode several guys' good one, caught ride them at places and stuff, and they didn't fit me any better than mine did. And they had rode mine and got along good on him. So I felt like, you know what? He may not be for that. Still the best one I've ever been on.
Now, is that something you kind of look for in these prospects where they kind of match maybe a little bit of that size and that breeding? Or what's kind of the stuff that you look for?
Yeah, man, obviously.
And breeding-wise, like, is there a certain stuff you look at, certain stuff you try to stay away from?
I'm trying to get some size. It's hard to do now. Bunch of the old stuff that I love, it's hard to find them now because most of them horses, I mean, Street's 20. So his old dad,
yeah,
he ain't even with us no more, I don't think. I think Pet the Boonsmall, is he still alive, or Pet the Boonsmall might be dead? I don't even know.
He's got to be back there if Street's 20.
When he's
for
old,
sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, then Shining Spark and all those horses when I was a kid, Hollywood Heat and Shining Spark and Smart Little Lena. I loved those Smart Little Lenas. They were so good. But shoot, there ain't none of them left, and the horses are all gone. So you're riding, descendants of them. And so I try to get as close as I can. You know what I mean? Like that the governor, he's out of a Playboy Shiner mare. In the main, I hadn't even heard of Instant Choice, SR Instant Choice, but now I know what it is. Ben's, I had to start paying attention more to his papers because I didn't even have them on my phone when he won the Horse of the BFI. And I felt pretty dumb when the girls come and asked me for this deal on it or whatever, and I said, I had to get hang on
let me get back with you.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I mainly bought him off of size because you could see in his body he was going to be a heavy-made horse. And his mother was bred just like I like them. She had everybody that had the smarts and the feet and the move. And still to this day, he's not a better horse than Street. But Street sure enough couldn't move like that either. I mean, that thing there's got moves like Jagger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's some of this. I've never felt another one just like it.
What builds are you looking for? Like when you're looking at them, like how their hocks sit, certain things like that. What characteristics, like build wise, are you looking for that like this sucker right here is built
I'm
to do
just
it?
like everybody else. I'd love big bones. The bigger the bones are, it just makes sense. The bigger the club, harder it is to break it, hurt it. But I'd love some big bones. I like for them hocks to be under. If their back legs always hang around in front of their hocks, they've got a chance to be stoppy. To drag their butt. I don't want one of them horses to stop. I want them to slide. And when I was a little younger, listening to the guys talk about, well, them show horses, they're not for rodeoing because they slide, and we're trying to stop the clock. Well, they can say all that they want, but I don't know. I ain't been around many of them that stopped any further than Diesel every time. Horse of the Year, they won the world on it, and everybody rode it, and they kicked their butt on it. I mean, it's a great horse. So I think that, yeah, if you got one that misses the ground and he stops late and stuff like that, then yeah, he's probably in the way. But if he drags his butt through the turn and gets it set up to where when you get to the top of your slack, he ain't moving anymore, I don't care if he slides 15 feet through that turn. He can't stop. Stopping the clock.
I think where that's been outdated, I think, with the way other judging systems kind of have gone to where it's coming in third, fourth hop and all that slide, and you have to hold your slack, to where now I think it's been updated. And that's why I like where the futurities are going, where things are updated now, where that slide can be in the corner.
Yes, sir.
But then square up and then be able to take the hit.
It's more realistic now. You know, like we had talked about earlier about them wanting us to third, fourth jump them wasn't realistic for me. You know, it didn't make any sense. The very first time I ever went anywhere with Bob when I was a kid to help him down there, it was at Louisville Lake. And I know nothing, okay? I know nothing. And then Bob, he blasts up there and sticks it on the first one. Well, the steer kind of wiped out a little bit, like Bob kind of drug butt over there and the steer wiped out. Well, when he come out of it, I got him and dallied and locked it off. Well, it come tight a little too fast for Bob's colt to be able to face him good. And he told me, he said, "Hey, Sugar, why don't you give me another couple of swings right there and let me get moving where I can have some time in to face this horse?" Okay. Well, the second one, I tried it. That would be the last time I ever tried it. Because I almost cut both hands off and it burnt. I had to wear a glove on both hands the rest of the day and 2 gloves on this other one because I didn't have any tape. And I thought to myself, yeah, well, I actually told Bob, I was just a boy. When we got back down the arena, he said, "Baby, that was perfect." I said, "Sweet. I'm never doing it again." What are you talking about? I said, "If I got to do that, I quit. No, I ain't doing it." He said, "All right, what do you think?" I said, "Well, I'm just going to heal him. You deal with it or I quit." He said, "Okay, I'll just deal with it." And we've been doing it like that ever since. But it just, the way that they went about it, it was just so unrealistic for me that.
That's what's nice about where they're trying to do with the
it.
futurities, the fact that now they're upgrading and updating it to where these horses have a chance to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, when these horses leave November or October, whenever the horse show futurities are, the ones that age out, they've got a chance to go to a good spot in the World Series finals in any category. Mm-hmm. And some of these is going to have that upper level, like Air Force One is going to have a shot to go big time. And so that's what I love to see it now, where it's updated with what guys are going to be able to use to go down the road. We got the best horses and the best trainers to where now these horses have a chance to go somewhere big.
Yes, sir.
What is speaking now, talking about Air Force One on the head side, what is he bred like?
So he's by a horse called One Fabulous Time, which is a one-time Pepto. And I'm to say what one Fabulous Time's mama was. But he's out of a mare named Spook's Ballerina, which is by Spook's Got a Whiz. And he's a little cutter cow horsey, little Rainerish bred, top bottom like that. And was started as a Rainer. And he's pretty fun to heel on. The more we headed on it, the stronger it got, and he kind of wanted to drag me into the cow just a little bit. Like if you get a nice little set of steers that run and stay on in the head rope pretty good, it's pretty fun to heel on, really. But I can't say forever and ever I either wanted to ride behind the cow horse guys first or the cutters. Last resort would have been the Rainers. And now my deal's a little different. The cutters, those guys, they used to get them broke. The further the cutting is going, in my opinion, they've got them where it's all cow. Man, they've got the breeding part down so good, and they've done it so long now to where, man, a bunch of them horses, they won't be that broke, but they'll do what they need them to do, which is hold the cow, which is awesome. Good for them. But even if they don't hold the cow good enough, when we buy their so-called rejects, and I don't want a reject, I want a good one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If he's good at that, he may be good at this. If he's a reject at that, he's probably a reject at this. So I want to ride behind the cow horse guys first because they are so broke, man. And they've got them on the cow. They've taught them how to go hold the cow, but not hold the cow flat. You know what I mean? So those are my favorite to ride behind. And then now it's turned the other way where I would rather ride the Rainers than the cutters most of the time because they've got them pretty broke. Yep. You know what I mean? They don't know anything about the cow. And you got to be careful about which ones you get and that kind of stuff because there's some of them, we call it, well, I'm not going to say that, but the Rainers. You know what I mean? But
What are some of the downfalls on some of them that have rained too much? Do they too much right here where they hide?
They hide their face. And they're sissies, man. They pampered them things so much that they're sissies.
That does make sense. I've had a couple of them, yeah, that I did feel that.
Yeah. You every time you do anything to them for a pretty good while, they're real, they resent you for it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, because they ride with their seat and their feet and very little hands. And, man, they shouldn't call it the reining. They should call it the maneuvering. Because when you go to doing much with the reins, most of the time it doesn't matter. They don't guide very good, stuff like that. But if you know how to sit on them, and I'm not saying I'm a reiner by no means, because I don't know how to sit on one, but I've rode enough of them now that I've learned how to use them. And they are broken. They can run and drag their butt, and they can turn around.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that kind of stuff. So all that plays right into our deal.
Yeah.
I think guys are getting smart about it. You've seen several of the programs getting pretty smart about it. And, hey, they cost so much now that it doesn't matter. The old $10,000 to $15,000 horse is the new $35,000 to $50,000 horse. Just is what it is. And it's crazy. Hey, one part of me hates it. Another part of me loves it. You know what I mean? I can't decide which way I want to go half the time, because, I may have to give 35 or 40 for that thing myself as a baby that never had a rope swung on it. And you're going, holy moly. Yeah. Can you imagine yourself, Chuck, 15 years ago, somebody called you and said, man, I've got him. He's got the size. He's this. He's super broke, man. I want $45,000 for him. We ain't never swung a rope on him. You would have laughed at that dude on the phone and hanged up your phone.
Well, especially when I was rodeoing, and the fact that, it's going to take so long to get him ready to go to rodeo. Yeah. That's why I never really started many colts before, or in many horses, and that's where I'm at right now, kind of getting caught up. My stuff was they had to be rodeoed on so much. I can tweak a few things to get them where they work in my program. But yeah, when you look at it now, and because to me, like when I buy one, or like this one we've raised, but like if I buy one, I have to look and see like, okay, what is the shot here from when I pay $20,000 for him? Mm-hmm. Okay, how long is it going to take me to where this horse is worth 40? Because I got to know what's in the middle.
Honestly, about the time you got 40 in him. I mean, if you stop and think about it, with the feed and the amount of riding and all the stuff, and you bet.
And you hope you don't go to the vet.
Hey, man, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly,
that's where it's coming on our side, where guys, how are these head horses so expensive? Well, by the time you buy them, because like I said, 20, that's a pretty good deal now.
Oh, my goodness.
You're saying now it's moving toward, now you're looking towards 30, 35. And then now what's it going to be on the other side of it to where, okay, now he's a good rope horse. Mm-hmm. Now what's that going to cost? So yeah, it's moving it up. Man. Yeah.
But here's the deal. They're saying, well, it's so expensive now. Shoot, you can't even make money. It's not true. That's not true. I'm an owner as well. You know what I mean? I have customers and I'm a trainer, but I'm an owner because I own some of my own. And, my wife, she wants to be an owner. She wants to do the game too. So we'll have some of those things, and they'll be, the horse I sold Junior, for example, he wanted, I ain't seen him ride it in a minute. He's gone rodeoing. He might not have took him with it. I don't even know. But he rode him last fall at the jackpots and stuff, and out there on the way to the finals, and kicked their butt on him good, and I was proud that he was doing good on him. And, but my wife bought him the day he turned 4 years old, January 1st, out of Solo Select Sale, Ty and Melanie Smith, and never had a rope swung on it, and I'll give a fair piece for it. It's quite a bit of money, but he was the right way, man. Good looking, he had the size, was bred nice, out of a great mare. Like, yeah, man, that's, if you want to try it for this much money, that's one to try it on. So we get it. Honestly, I balked a little bit, and she just kept hitting the button. But, yeah, I was like, okay, that's good. Beep. Hit it again. I'm like, holy moly. Yeah. So, but anyway, man, I had it for 2.5, almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. And grand total, I think I won just a tick over 100,000 on him in the 3 years. It wasn't like I killed him, but I won pretty good on it.
At least you got your training.
I got all my training back and my original back, and had made some money doing it. And then he was a good enough horse that, say, Junior Noguera wanted it, and I sold it for pretty good money. So yeah, it does have a chance of making money, but we gotta start with the right horses. And they're not all going to make it, man. It's like 1,400 baseball players.
Yep, it is.
They ain't all getting drafted in the MLB.
Yep.
So
on the head side, now that you've started to really, you're really starting to dominate on that. What prospects and what are you kind of looking for? Because like today when we're talking about the Cannonbone, and you're talking about a little bit longer belly.
Yeah,
like
something underneath where they can. How many of them little fat-toed made horses have you seen that could really run? He might have been really running, but he wasn't going anywhere.
Because like your heel horses, you want a little more compact from the shoulders to their hocks, right? Or shoulders to their belly.
I don't mind it.
And then the head horse is a little bit more length, where they can cover some more ground.
If they don't have enough length under them in their belly and in their back, then their stride is so short. No matter how fast their stride is, they're not going anywhere. They can't run enough. So, honestly, we need heel horses. They got to be able to run too, especially jackpotting and rodeoing and that now. But you can kind of get by at the futurity deal with one that ain't quite as fast, as long as he does it right. In the heading, it ain't hardly that way. If you can't catch up, then you can't get scored. So, they need to be able to run.
They've got to be able to run. Them horns got to come to you.
That's what Trevor and Miles and them have done so good. And Tate's doing a good job at it, finding the ones big enough, strong enough, can run. Driggers, he's all the time looking for them. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing they're doing. Because if I don't, then they're going to have big, strong ones that can run. And they already do better than me. So I'm already at a disadvantage. Mine needs to be bigger and stronger than theirs and can outrun theirs for me to have a chance at them, to be honest. So,
yeah, because that's a big part of it when the time comes in too. Because it's one thing if they hit just right, scoring, leaving, running up there, setting up the corner, framing across the pin, facing, but then then there's another element. If that time is under a certain amount, now it increases your score again, correct?
How I do it is I heel for the other guys. Yeah, man, it's a great scheme. You got to just look at it. I heel for the other guys, and I mess up for them. Hey, look out, I'm the winner. That's how you do it.
That Okie just pops out on you, doesn't it? Steal your hat and help you look for it.
Try to hide it, but this is what it is, man. The bad part is I said that the other night where I'm in the 4-year-old at Ardmore. Third call back, and he did good, and we caught. Well, I say he did good. I turned a bad steer and call and healed him anyway because that's what he does. But I think Milesy is second high callback. No, he's high callback. Somebody else was second high callback, and they caught. I'm like, man, you know what, Milesy? We're riding by Jay and the flagger in there, and I said, I could win second right here real easy. All I got to do is throw it behind this one. And Jay Bird was like, bro, you can't say stuff like that. Well, luckily I caught that one. And he won it. But then the very next day, he's second callback and I'm high callback. And I don't think it looked like I was after that one, how far I missed him. But I really was after him. But it's honestly helping and showing at the same time in those deals, whether it's in the heeling or heading it really doesn't matter. And when you mess up for your guy and then you come back and do good, man, it feels gross.
It feels
gross is what it does. It
yeah.
just feels rotten.
What is the pressure that you feel when a guy is helping?
Well, man, so Miles and I had been helping each other just a little bit and trading help. Well, every steer we run is together. And so no matter what, every time we mess up, it's for each other, Well, like I said, it feels ugly when your guy does you a good job and you do him a bad job. But I know that it's not like that for each other because we do it the other way too, and he mess up for me too, and it doesn't matter. You don't look at it. Nobody sees it like that. Some of the people do, but the people that do, they don't matter to us. because that doesn't matter. But it still feels ugly, no matter what. And so it is some pressure, you know what I mean? And then it gets into that deal to where, some you have one customer don't really want you to help their horse and that kind of stuff like that. And
it is funny every once in a while you see some of the owners that look at it on like a spreadsheet. Those guys know money. They know how money works, and so everything's a spreadsheet. And this guy wasn't hitting, so we're going to bench him. And who else can we get?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
And honestly, from their standpoint, if you look at it through their eyes, the way they're looking at it, it does make sense.
That's how they made their money.
It does make sense.
But it's not like that out here.
The problem with it is, Chuck, is for the good majority of them, they can't look at it that through your eyes the way you're looking at it because don't know how. Well, I don't know how to look at it their way either, so we're even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does get a little frustrating.
Well, you get in your head if you're not careful.
If you ain't careful. And so, man, I try to treat every steer at those deals, whether I'm high callback on one of mine or I'm high callback helping one of theirs. Doesn't matter. It's a better than average steer in the practice pen here at the house. You just hit the turn in a good spot, find the cow, catch the cow.
Yeah.
And I don't catch them all here at the house, so why would I expect me to catch them all in town? That's kind of where I'm at.
One of the things that I've also really noticed, and I think the whole world also notices it as well, is when you and I rodeoed, and even when we were buddied after you and I quit roping, we still stayed buddied. And what I mean by that is you can buddy teams, and so like 2 teams can buddy throughout the summer, and you guys hang out and travel together and stuff. And so we even buddied after we got done roping. And the one thing I always noticed was how much your horses like you. Like it's a weird thing to explain, but the whole world sees it because they see how soft your horses are. They see how, like when you step off them, they're looking for you. When you're around them, they're not scared. Like their eyes are always soft and they're always staying right there with you. And it's something I've always seen, and I always respected that. And so I always like to have some questions for the public, and I'll run an ad on, a little post on social media, on Facebook, and a lady named Jennifer Clement asked, how do you keep them horses so calm yet focused on their job so well? Because that is the one thing I think as well as we're trying to do this. We're trying to get them comfortable at a certain level, and so you're having to ask more out of them without blowing them up. Well,
to answer her question, I try not to nitpick those horses any more than I have to. And I hang out with them all that. To be honest, I'm a horse lover. I love a horse. And I like to hang out with them and spend time with them. And so I do. And you seen today roping here at the house. I'm able to hang out there in the box and tell stories and visit for a little while. And here in a little while, my horse is going to sleep in there. He's comfortable, man. Make him comfortable. How much better job can you do? And it doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're painting fence. If you're painting fence and you've got one paintbrush and it's a little tiny one and you got a lot of fence to paint here and it's hot, right? And you get this one little tiny paintbrush and you're trying to paint on this fence. It's frustrating, Chuck. You're mad. It's hot. You don't want to do it anymore. But now if you got this sweet spray rig with this paint gun and you can zap right through this deal, your job's quite a little more comfortable.
Especially if it's got some high power right there, like Toolman, like Tim the Toolman. You say, see how far back I can get.
Yes. You're going to do better at it.
Yeah, you just said, it just already sounded more fun.
You're going to do a better job. So the more comfortable and easier you can make it for them, the more comfortable and easier it's going to be for them, and they're going to stay. You know what I mean? They're not going to get as wound up, as fast, worried about it. So the nitpicking, man, you see guys do it, and man, they're watching the other guys. They're watching them hold them and put their legs on them and do the thing. What they're not watching is they're not watching those guys stop doing it. Like, do it. Put him in that frame. Like, okay, I got it. And then stop. Don't touch him again. Yeah. Sit over there and visit with your buddies and just let him hang out. That's the hardest thing to do in horse training, is to stop. I see it all the time. And me too. Hey, me too. I'm guilty.
I remember Chris Cox said, what do you think? But somebody said, they asked him, what do you think creates a good horseman? And he said, a lot of times knowing when to quit.
I'll tell you what makes a good horseman. A good horse is even a good horse, if you overdo him and you overcook the bacon all the time, before too long, he's fried, man.
I see that so much in some of the upper level ropings. Like I watch them head horse and they are just fried. They hate it. They're chomping bit. Like they're not scoring. They're just toast.
Well, they've asked them for their life every time with very, very. I'll ask you this. What do you think the funnest thing about team roping for a horse is?
Yeah, what's in it for the horse? What's in it for a horse, head horse?
The chase.
Nothing.
Catching up.
Yeah, there's that. But like as far as like what you can offer the horse, right?
Running and catching the cow. That's the only thing he gets out of it, really.
Mm-hmm. And release.
Everything else is man-made and it's for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, you have to try to make that, to answer her question, you've got to try to make that as comfortable as you can and get them to want to do it for you. Don't force them into it, so to speak. Get them to want to do it. Get them to want to help you because of the reward at the end. I pet them all the time. Guys make fun of me for it. When I make a good run on one of them and he just tried hard, or even if I don't make a good run, but he tried hard and he did, I'll pet him. Tell him, good job. Yep. That way he knows, hey, even though I messed up, I did good. He just stinks right there. Well, when I ride him in the box on the next one, he's still thinking, hey, I did a good job. He's comfortable. He's confident. I'll do it again. But if I kicked his butt every time after I'm done, catch or miss, he don't ever know that he did good or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I pet him and like I'm a horse lover. I can't help it.
And like I said, you can see it. You can see it in the horses. Like I said, I've seen it when we first started roping. Like they truly trust you, and they like say they're right behind you. Like they have your backs. It's always a cool thing to see. And at that time, I hadn't seen that much. It was very, very cool to see that relationship.
Well, the funny part is most of mine, if I have them very long, they get to where they're pests because I play with them all the time. And I remember when you and I roped, first trip we took out there to Arizona to the Tucson and that stuff, and I remember Chip chewing on your hat. That was awesome.
I told you to hurry up and get your frickin' cheeseburger and get this frickin' animal away from me.
I know, I loved it.
He ran me over. He was chewing on my hat.
Yeah, because he wanted you to play with him.
Yeah.
He wanted to wrestle.
Yeah.
And some of them do. This little dun that I've got right now, he's like that. Like he wants you to get him and pull his ear and play with him. Like he likes it. And everybody, I tell people when they walk up, I said, hey, man, he's going to bite you. Okay. Just either be okay with it or get away from him.
Yeah.
Because I've whipped him for it, biting people. And it doesn't matter. He's going to do it anyway. And he never bites anybody. It gets hold to your shirt because he thinks it's funny. And just is what it is.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the one of the big fraternities of the year. Trevor and Miles, we were talking about it a little bit yesterday. Walsburg, Utah, I believe is the location. Ren, Richard, and I think Quanah maybe is putting that fraternity on.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to it,
yes,
Shirley?
Sir.
And what has it got added? That's going to be a big one, right?
I seen on there where it was an odd number, like 400 and like 5,000 or something. That's how they had their added money on there. And I think what it did is so it's got a guaranteed payback for first place through all the, the levels. So, what they told me was first place in the 6 and under heading and heeling both to win first is 100,000. That's just crazy, man. Crazy money, astronomical, good, great for the industry. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks Ren and Quanah and whoever else has their hands in it. And the dude that's going to let us use this place, they said it's a real nice place up there. That's just awesome. I mean, how could you not love our industry having something like that in it? They said it's supposed to be 100% payback. I think Jay and Lindsay Wadhams are kind of running it. So it'll be good. They're good at it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
Jay
tries hard and he's doing a good job with it.
Yes, I agree.
That's going to be a good shot in the arm, I think, for the American Rope Horse Fraternity to be able to get something, or somebody's wanting to do something like that and being able to do it through what their association has been doing.
Yes, sir. I think that we're me included, I'm not throwing myself out, but we're going to have to stop wearing our feelings around our sleeve all the time for the next little bit. This deal has gotten so good, and the money at it's so good, and the customers involved, and the sponsors that are involved, and the horses have gotten better, and the more guys, and their training's getting better. It's just growing like wildfire, man. And me personally, I love the thought of it because this is something that I can do for a long time. You know, as long as I stay fairly sound, I can do this for a long time, and it's fun for me. And obviously, you can make a living at it if you do it right. We're going to have to stop wearing our feelings around on our sleeves when we need to make changes. And I realize everybody's got an opinion. When somebody's got an opinion that matters.
Seems like that's what's different about rodeoing and then the futurities and the judged events. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember when you took me to my first one, I was so used to everything, like, the harder the faster you were, but you outlasted him like you won. Well, this is the first time I was in the judging side of it. Mm-hmm. And it is different, especially if a guy ropes enough. You have more control over what you place on your rope. And then now you're being judged, and it's different. It's a lot different.
Well, you didn't understand. You didn't know what was going on, how it was happening, and the deal. And I think we won fourth or fifth, maybe, that first year the first year they had it there, and on No Cotton. And you did good. You did good. Mm-hmm. We made 4 good runs, clean runs. And I think one guy or 2 guys beat us with a leg, and you didn't understand.
Didn't make sense to me.
So it's an opinion. Those guys sitting up there in the deals got an opinion.
Yep.
Well, everybody's got an opinion, man. I don't care what you're doing. If you're playing golf, or it doesn't matter. Everybody's got an opinion. And I don't care about your opinion if we're playing golf because I suck. Yeah, so I really don't care. I come to have a few beers and play golf. Mm-hmm. But at this deal, I'm not saying that my opinion matters, but it does. Trevor's opinion matters. If he's got a legitimate opinion, now if he's just a little mad and doing a thing, or if I'm just a little mad and I'm having an opinion because I'm mad, that's different. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have to start, I think, for the next little bit, not just blowing everybody's opinion off. I think it needs looked at, some of it. Even some of the ones when it's a haste opinion, maybe, but maybe it's got some stuff behind it. Let's look at it. If it don't, throw it out. It's just like advice. You know what I mean? The same thing. If somebody's got good advice, you use it. If they got poor advice, you stand there and listen to them because be respectful, and then you don't use it. Mm-hmm. So our industry is, man, it's so good right now. And it's only going to get better, I think, for the next little while. I don't see, horse prices. I don't see faltering for a little while. I think the more guys are involved, and more guys are going to get involved. I don't know how long ago it was. We're talking about 2017, 18, 19 through there. And when the big futurity first got going and it first started getting pretty good, you didn't have a bunch of these guys that we have now. They weren't paying attention. And then they started, the Wesley Thorpes, Hunter Cook, Cody Snow, them guys, they started paying attention. Riggers. There you go. I leave him out all the time because he wins enough. I don't even like to talk about him. But honestly, he helped me last year, all up until they left to go rodeoing. And then when they got back, he helped me at the big futurity also. Clay, Jason and Clay and them, they own that bougie. So Clay helped me when I rode him, but Driggers helped everything else. And that dude just wants to win.
Yes. And he's a smart cat.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He knows he knows what he's after, and he's got a business mind.
I don't like saying it out loud, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't. He reminded me of Brett Favre when he first came. He kind of played that dumb role, and then you listen to him, and he might have been the smartest guy in the room. Yeah, he's sharp. He's real sharp.
He's business. Mm-hmm. Good with it, So why would he not want to be involved? Mm-hmm. It's business, good business.
Absolutely.
So he is, and you got Colin and them now. He's tell you what he did. He come the first couple of times, and he had them things so trained, man, and they're just good. But they didn't have any look to them hardly. They just worked. Mm-hmm. And then he decided, you know what? I want to win at this, so I'm going to put some look on there. I'm fixing to do some stuff, and he did. And now he's a thorn. every time he comes. He's a real thorn, which is good.
Absolutely.
Competition, man. I mean,
Because it fits him too. He rides him so good.
Hey, like we talked about, iron sharpens iron, man.
Absolutely.
The better them guys are, the better it'll push you to be.
I totally agree. So what about, I always tell everyone at my clinics that, there's certain people that you should follow, so what is your social media outlets? Joseph B. Harrison on Facebook, Instagram. Are you on TikTok as well?
No, I don't know, Chuck. I know this was a problem when we roped, and it's still a problem now.
Do you have an email?
I do have an email. Doesn't work on my phone, but I do have it.
Chuck, when are we up again? Get email.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to.
And my favorite part about that was when you guys would get all pissy about me not helping get trade. I'm like, dude, screenshot a picture of where we need to go, the deal. And I'm like, if you don't do it, then it's not worth it for me to
So
help.
everyone listening, when he was talking about the hard-headedness, this is what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Trying to rodeo without an email where he couldn't get a trade list. And, had no idea when you were up. Chuck, when are we up again?
Honestly, I can't do anything till the cow turns. Before the cow turns, I don't even have a job.
Stay right beside me and shut up.
Yeah. It worked perfect.
So anyways, one of the things I talk about a lot is, man, follow these guys, follow Relentless Bermuda, follow Joseph, and especially on the head side and the heel side. Because when you watch these futurities, I'm telling you, man, there's a blueprint of the runs. If you're roping in the 13 ropings down to the 7 roping, I mean, watching them guys when their horses leave, what their left hand does, when they bring the first swing up, what their swing looks like, how they're able to rope and put it on the horn in the corner, and how they frame them horses across the pen. All that stuff, like say, they're roping from the same position that you are. And so watching a lot of the runs he's making on the head side as well, but then also just, not very many lower numbered heelers are going to be able to rope like you on the backside because you are throwing for a second hop. But still just the beautifulness of just watching a great run. I always, because like say these cameras now are so good, these reels when you see on social media, like I follow all the futurities now from social media because the camera's so good, the angles are so good, the slow-mo. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, really.
I can dissect so many different things just on what you guys do in your body position from these good reels now. And highly recommend following you.
It was funny that you talk about the video. We had a controversial over a flag one time at Austin, and I had the video on my phone. So I send it to Alan Jordan because that guy hosed. It was so bad. And he calls me, Mr. Allen does. He's like, you guys in your phone videos is so stupid. Give me a second. So he calls, gets Benji's version of the video, voices it over and sends it to me. Well, his video was like way better than mine, And then it's voiced over, and sure enough, it was no good. I should have got a time. And anyway, but that's why I think, we're not going to bag on the PRCA here, but their video is so good. I'm not saying you got to do it at Mitchell, South Dakota. Let's don't have instant replay at Mitchell, South Dakota.
Are you talking about that changing part? Like that's what's held them back for so freaking long. The technology we have.
I quit, Chuck.
Yeah.
Tired of them.
Yeah. I get it.
They don't want to do better.
No, they don't want to do better. They don't have to. It's a non-profit.
Well, they're going to go anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, they already get the memberships and they already get contracts. And so that's it. Until they do, it's going to be, we've talked about it a lot. I'm so excited to see where Kid Rock takes rodeo. I've heard already next year that he's got a few, one other, I forgot, gosh dang it, With the Wind or, I forgot already. The Silver Bullet Band.
Oh, baby, Bob Seger.
Bob Seger wants to do one next year, I heard.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
So, like, where he could take this thing, I'm not saying we're going to get on his back and he's going to save us. I'm just saying the fact that, like, there's more people now getting involved with some of these bigger rodeos, like some of these offset rodeos, they're at $1 million. There's going to be more of those popping up. So I'm really curious to kind of see if there isn't some competition because that's what drives. And so we'll see. But I'm not waiting for the PRCA to save us because it hasn't. But
so honestly, they're as far as money made wise and stuff like that for the rodeo guy. Yeah, they're the best association, man.
All we got.
They've got the best finals and all the stuff. Obviously it's the highest platform rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
But just like we just talked about a minute ago about Well, no, I did a little deal with Chelsea a couple days ago, and I said I don't want production to get lazy in our deal right here. I want, and like I said on that deal, I'll help, man. I'll help if we need to break steers in, if we need to do stuff like that. I'll try to help when it's close enough that I can. And there's other guys that's off at the other places that they'll help. They want it to grow and do good too. The PRCA guy where they don't have to care. You know what I mean? I don't want our deal to do that. I want it to do good. I want it to last long and everybody to want to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's given you guys such a good opportunity now after rodeo.
Yes.
You know, look at how many people now are still making a living with the rope because they can ride a horse.
Yes.
It's been great.
No, it's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, it has its ups and downs just like rodeoing does. But you still get the brotherhood of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still get, your buddies. And that's what I do miss about rodeoing, man, is my other family, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of them still out there doing it, and I don't get to see them as often. And the people, great places. And people just let you come in, just bombard their place and, hey, love it, rope, you know what, leave your hay strung out everywhere, we don't even care, glad you came. Just awesome people, Rick and Jimmy Joe and then Montera and that Scott Rep. How can you not love Scott Rep, man, and Miss Joe? And so.
And staying there in Idaho and just all the different places.
Yeah, Fornstroms. And, you just miss seeing those people. And like you say, yeah, man, it'd been cool to sit on the back of the box at Reno the other night and watch Collie bag that thing.
He'd bag it.
Yeah, man, I'd have been hollering.
That old Andy is just doing it. He's one of the smoothest headers.
But honestly, if a guy does it right, I can make the same, if not more money.
Well, I think Miles Baker said he's almost at 300,000 already this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's won a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been well needed for a long time. Because there's so many.
I think he pads his stats a little. I really do.
Could.
You know what I mean?
Could. Well, at least you still have the lead.
He's that guy. You know what I mean? I hope he listens to this.
Yeah. Well, at least you are the top money winner in the American Rope Horse Futurity, so you got him there.
Luckily, they don't keep stats on those other ones. They're probably in the top 40 of those ones.
But no, it's good. What about studs? Have you gotten into the studs? What is some of the stuff besides following you on social media? What all the stuff you kind of working towards you feel like that you're going to have that the public is going to want to know all about? So,
man, I've got one right now, sure enough, good junior stallion. He's probably, I think he has maybe 5 or 6 colts, I think, maybe for next year. It's going to hit the ground. And we just did that just to kind of have some coming. He was recently sold. Premier Rope Horses owned him. And we sold him to Gucci Equine. And he's still in the barn. I'm still riding him. His name is New One Time Blues. And he is one of, if not the most exceptional young stud that I've ever repped. He is truly that good. I've had several of them guys ask me, hey, as far as heel horses goes, is he that good? He is that good. I could ride him at the BFI, no sweat. He can run. He's got the look, the frame, the deal, and he's pretty easy to rope on. Most of those horses that have his kind of ability will be tougher to ride. Some of them will. A good piece of them will be tougher to ride. But he's not, man. Justin Oaks, Dan and Jackie Oaks' son, they're customers of mine, and Jackie's mother, Miss Sue Sankin, also customers, and Justin lives down here, which they bought a place down here now, and Justin stayed down here with me for a pretty good while now, and he's a real good kid, and they've raised his number several times. He's doing good, and but I can put him on Old Bougie. And, man, he can just follow and make good runs, and it's quiet, calm, Some of them other horses, I've got some other ones in the barn that are sure enough good, too, and he rides some of them, too. But it's awesome to watch one of them, like that young stud, that he's got that much in his tank, but he can dial down and be simple.
So he can go at a high level and then he can cruise. That is a cool mix.
He's
that goes a lot of area. That covers a lot. That's a broad spectrum right there.
So the other young stud that I would compare him to that I've had in my custody would have been Patron, dual Patron. And in my personal opinion, not much comparison. I mean, this one here, he can outrun him, the whole deal.
Got good size.
He's got enough size. That other horse was just a hair small, but he didn't know it. He was strong.
Yeah, he was tough.
And he was good for me. I appreciate everything he did for me. He was good. But this horse here, he's the real deal. And I've got another one coming. This Premier Rope Horses, they keep doing it. We just got here the other day, we got a own son of Magnum Chick Dream out of a daughter of Shiner. And he's Palomino with a snow white mane and tail, and he's pretty. And maybe one of the stoppingest horses I've been on in a while.
Really?
I mean, he can do it now, and he's sweet. You know, he don't seem like he don't want any trouble and stuff. He's going to be I hate to jump the gun, but I think he's going to be a real stallion prospect.
That's awesome.
So,
well, man, I'm proud of you. It's been great to see what you've done with this and what you've gone through in the fraternities and what you've won and the ability that you've had on both ends. It's been awesome to watch. I truly enjoyed getting to come here and spar with you and pick your brain out. Man, it was fun. It was just, like I said, me going to a fraternity is not for me more or less winning. It's for, I'd love to be able to get good enough by these couple that I'm going to where by the time I get there in October, like, all right, now I've got a chance right here to put this together.
You bet.
Because if I don't, then if I stay on my little sandbox there in my house and never get no better, and it's so fun for me. And I talk about goals all the time for ropers. And when the guy does set them, it makes you do things, makes you get out of your comfort zone. It makes you have to work on the things that are your weaknesses. And that is, and it's frustrating. I get it. I'm frustrated half time too. But like, it's amazing when you get around that, and iron sharpens iron, and you get around those guys that know how to do it, man. It's fun. And man, what you've done on both ends has been so fun to watch. So Fort Worth is this weekend, and I'm sure if guys get on the American Rope Horse Fraternity and be able to watch it. And
you bet.
Man, I'm rooting for you.
You should have it live, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully you can heal a couple for me this time without roping a leg before the short round. But I'm not really worried about this time because my goal is to make the short round this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe by Fort Worth, maybe I have a shot to make short round or something there too. But
I keep telling you guys, if I've got head horses entered, I'm gonna get a leg. Okay?
I remember when Jackie had a
down.
shot on that horse of hers, and you were healing for us. And be careful, man. He'll break your heart,
bro. Do you have any idea how much pressure that is?
It's a lot. When you've got the queen of breakaway and the queen of cowgirls and the only girl entered to the rope horse fraternity, and she's got a chance to win it.
And she's already won 30 some odd thousand before we even get to the short round.
Won the 4-year-old, won the intermediate.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that last year she spun one for, I think, the third round. You were up the leg. I walked up to her, and you had your hat in your hands going, "I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry." I just looked right at her. He goes, "He'll break your heart, won't he?"
Oh, my God. Yeah. I didn't love you anymore back then either. I'm telling you, it sucks, man. It's so hard.
Well, I always tell everyone I go to them, and if I'm going to go to them, I'm going to rope with who I want to rope with, and I'm going to laugh.
Yeah.
I remember that one time maybe it was 3 years ago, you roped a leg, I think, for one to do good, and you come up and are like, "Chuck, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I roped a leg there." And as we're going down the arena, and I said,
"Yeah,
I can't believe you weren't going to rope a leg."
I can't believe it. Yeah. Happens all the time. Yeah. That's why I said I finally got over the fact of, and like the kids and
there's
stuff.
no one else I could have that much fun with.
I had a kid come the other day for lessons, bro. And I love doing it because I like kids, number one, and I love team roping. So kids and team roping, man, if we can mash them, that's just that much more fun for me. And this kid, he was getting so frustrated, man. And I'm kind of letting him go through it just a little, but I'm going, you know what? Finally, I'm like, "Hey, bro, he's very novice, okay?" I said, "What? How come you're mad, bro? Like, what are you mad about?" "Well, I'm not doing good." I said, "Okay." So, "Did you do good yesterday?" And he hadn't never roped off the horse yet. This is the first day. Well, I never roped off horse till today. I said, then why are you mad? You're doing great. You ain't fell off yet.
Exactly.
You've caught a couple. You know what I mean? We're doing this is perfect.
I enjoy the high standards, but a little unrealistic.
Yeah, man, you got to kind of, let's have a little fun with it. You ain't smiled in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I even cracked off a joke and nothing. You know, I'm going.
And I know I'm funny.
Yeah. I'm funny looking anyway. Come on, man.
Well, I tell you what, for anybody excited too, is we've also got a clinic, I believe it were November 22nd through the 24th in Salado, Texas, where you're going to be doing the healing. So yeah, I'm doing the head and you're doing the healing. So, it's going to be fun. I should. I should. I've already got enough guys at the NFR to show up right here. Let me show you how I did it.
You got to have a phone case.
You got to have a phone case. Yeah. No email.
I remember that going around for a minute. Yep. I bet Chuck's next partner got a phone case too. Yeah, man.
Yeah. But no, that's going to be where you don't do many clinics. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to be able to do that one.
I want to do more.
Mm-hmm. You do good at it. Like when you were showing me a lot of different stuff, man, it really resonated. You do a good job. So I'll be excited.
I like the people part of it. Man.
Yeah, you do
get
good
to
with
meet
people.
all the people.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it and do good this year. And thanks for the help today. And thanks for being on the podcast.
Right on, bro. Thank you.
10-4.